So as I've started PlainSpoken, there have been a couple of topics that I've dipped my toes into that I thought you required some special attention. One of these is the Global United Methodist Church and trying to understand things that are outside of the American Western context. As most Methodists know, the largest contingency of United Methodists in the world is actually on the continent of Africa. They have outnumbered us North Americans for some time, and while there are Methodists in the Philippines, in Eastern Europe, and other places, it seems to me that if we're going to be responsible citizens of this denomination, we need to do our best to understand people on the continent of Africa. And this introduction video is just meant as kind of a disclaimer and kind of an explainer for the different interviews that are coming your way. I am planning on doing a series of interviews with individuals who are United Methodists that live in different countries and in different conferences on the continent of Africa. The disclaimer portion is I fully recognize and am aware that no one person can adequately represent an entire people group. I'm fully aware that there are different nations and cultures and tribes and practices within the continent of Africa. And I'm fully aware that it's a very dangerous thing to group people together in one monolithic understanding of a people group. Even so, I do think that there is usefulness in making generalizations and coming to understand that, hey, there's something called American culture, and while we have differences between subcultures in America, there are general phenomena you see within America, and then likewise, there are going to be general differences in cultures and norms that you're going to find on the African continent. Now, how much those correspond with what we find in North America, that's the thing that I'm really interested in. I'm really wanting to know how much of what they deal with over there are the same global forces that we deal with here, and then how much their local worldview influences their words and behavior within the connection of the United Methodist Church. So there's no way to do, this is not my full-time job. My full-time job is as a local licensed pastor, but I started this project of PlainSpoken with a very explicit desire to inform other people like me, local licensed pastors, rural pastors, people who participate in the connection but are not of any high rank. I'm actually of the opinion that people with high standing in our denomination haven't taken the time and the energy to understand people who are different from them. I see evidence of this all the time with people using echo chamber language that does not speak across the divide. And so, I want conservatives like me to understand our African brothers and sisters. But my hope also is that centrists, institutionalists, liberals will also watch this and see that perhaps what our main I'm not going to say anything about News. There's one guy in particular I like there who writes on the African context, and I think he does a good job. But even so, there are a number of people that aren't going to read those articles or aren't going to find them useful. But there are people that will benefit from an interview. I personally, I've done 3 interviews so far. I've really enjoyed it and benefited from it. So I'm going to put these out, and I'm not doing this as a journalist. I'm decidedly a propagandist, and I mean that in the sense that I'm going to give each person a chance to sign off on what I release before I release it, because I don't want to be doing any kind of gotcha, setting them up or making them look bad or saying things that they don't want to be caught saying. So with any video that you see, I've already submitted it to the person I interviewed for their approval, and then I'm going to release it to you. So I would urge you, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel on YouTube or to my page on Facebook, and just do your best to track this. Because here's the thing. Humans are naturally self-interested. And in the West, we have a culture very much based on self-interest, selfishness. We're very self-absorbed. There has to be an intentional effort to understand people who are different from us, especially as we're Christians. As we follow Jesus and we try and conform our lives to his pattern, we don't have the luxury of just staying within ourselves. We're called to be a part of a global body of Christ, and that means taking the time and the energy to understand people who do not have our same set of cultural presuppositions. So let me exhort you to do that. to follow and track me, and find other voices that are not doing the echo chamber thing, but are actually trying to reach a point of common understanding. So if we do that, I'm not going to pretend to know the future of our denomination, but I can say that it'll have more integrity than a denomination that's just marked by caucus groups that stick to themselves. So let's you and me be a part of the solution. All right, I'll be done for now. I hope you enjoy the series.